Good afternoon, and welcome to another Monday Mortgage Moment. My name is Brenda Sainamont, and I am a licensed mortgage agent with Mortgage Sense here in Barrie. Wanted to share a story with you, covering a conversation that I had with a client early last week. Her son is a first-time homebuyer, and he has been sort of playing around with the idea of buying his first home. Went into the bank to find out how much he would qualify for, and on an income of $50,000, the bank told him that he would qualify for a $270,000 mortgage. Now, his mother, being very involved in real estate, owns a couple of rental properties, has obviously owned a few of their own houses over the years, knew the value of actually reaching out to an independent mortgage specialist. So gave me a call. We had a bit of a chat. I want to read you the email that I sent her as a summary to our conversation, just to give you the flavor of how the conversation can be really different than, just walking into a bank branch and having somebody run a couple of numbers and throw a pre-approval letter at you. So I'm just going to bring up my email. So, hi, client. Thank you for reaching out. It was great to talk to you and your son yesterday. I've run some scenarios for you to review. We did talk briefly on the phone about debt servicing. So, as a summary, the gross debt service, or GDS, is the percentage of your income that is used for housing costs and includes the mortgage payment, property taxes. We estimate at 1% if we don't know the exact amount, and a monthly heating cost, and we usually average that to be $100 a month. For an insured mortgage, so less than a 20% down payment, the maximum GDS is 39%. Now, I will qualify this by saying this conversation happened before CMHC's guideline changes on July 1st. So that's where the 39% came in. And we have to calculate the mortgage payment using a stress test rate of 4.94% when dealing with a typical bank lender. As I mentioned, we do have some other lenders who offer a non-stressed rate. That average rate right now is about 3.49, but they qualify the mortgage at that rate as opposed to using the stress test rate. So for your son, using an income of $50,000, his GDS is at the maximum of 39% if we do a mortgage of $218,000 and using the stress test of 4.94. Right? If we used a non-stress test rate of 3.49 using his income of $50,000, his GDS is at a maximum of 39% with a mortgage of $250,000. There was some more conversation about other debts, but I don't want to get into that. So in summary, I said, I know you mentioned that your son was told by the bank that he would qualify for $270,000 mortgage. When I run that number with a $50,000 income and I don't include property taxes or a heating cost, then I do get a GDS of about 38.9%. So my guess is that the bank that he talked to ran their figures strictly based on the mortgage amount and his income without actually looking at the entire housing costs. This would cause a problem for him down the road when he actually had a full application put together and they ran the numbers. So again, just a brief overview of how different that conversation went between the bank and going to an independently licensed mortgage broker, right? So pre-approval should have more work involved and more details than just how much do you make, 39%, here's the total maximum mortgage you can get. We normally like to do a full income verification and put close to a full application together when we do a pre-approval, just so that we know there's not going to be any surprises down the road, right? The last thing you want is for someone to get really excited, start looking at houses in a particular price range, thinking that they can afford it, and then when it comes down to actually putting an application together, finding out that they didn't actually qualify for what they were looking for. Hope that information helped. Hope you're having a great Monday. That's been your Monday Mortgage Moment. And again, my name is Brenda Sainamont, and I am with Mortgage Sense in Barrie. Thanks for tuning in.